Today, we will discuss what might happen with the war in Ukraine when Donald Trump takes over as President of the United States in January 2025. During his campaign, Trump made several promises and claimed that he could end this war quickly. But how can he do that? What can we really expect for the future of Ukraine and Russia with Trump back in the White House? Let's explore this scenario that could change everything. Before we speculate about what might happen with Trump's rise to power, it is important to understand what is happening in the world right now. Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, and since then, the war has been raging in Ukraine. The West, led by the United States, has imposed sanctions on Russia and sent military support to Ukraine. But despite these efforts, the war continues to drag on, and Russia has not yet been defeated. Now, with Trump set to take office again, what might this mean for the war? Does he hold the key to peace, or could his approach escalate the conflict even further? Let's take a closer look. Donald Trump has a unique view of foreign policy. Unlike other presidents, he has been a vocal critic of military interventions abroad. During his first term, he often opposed engaging the United States in long, complex wars, embracing an America First policy that prioritizes domestic interests. Trump has consistently claimed he could resolve the Ukraine crisis quickly, and suggested that if he were president, he could end the conflict in a short period of time. But how would he do that? Let's explore some possibilities. Direct negotiation with Putin. Trump is known for his negotiating skills and has said that he could talk directly to Russian President Vladimir Putin and end the war within hours. But would this direct approach work with Putin? We know that Trump has a more friendly relationship with autocratic leaders, but could this be an advantage or a disadvantage in the context of such a complex war? Reducing support for Ukraine. Another important point is Trump's stance on U.S. military support for Ukraine. He has suggested that he could cut off this support, which would force Ukraine to seek a solution on its own, potentially opening the door to concessions to Russia. Is this something that could end the war, or would it put Ukraine in an even more vulnerable position? Let's now look at some of the actions Trump could take when he takes office in January 2025 to try to end the war. To diplomatic pressure and peace deals. Trump could use his peace broker approach to try to broker a deal between Russia and Ukraine. He could seek a solution in which Ukraine accepts territorial concessions in exchange for Russia ceasing its military operations. Trump has demonstrated during his presidency that he prefers quick deals, often sacrificing some interests in the name of instant peace. Could this work in the case of Ukraine? Could Trump force Zelensky to accept unfavorable conditions in order to achieve peace? Suspending military aid to Ukraine. One of the most drastic steps Trump could take would be to cut off military aid to Ukraine. During his presidency, Trump has questioned the amount of U.S. taxpayer money being invested in the Ukrainian war. If he decides to reduce or stop this support, Ukraine could have a hard time resisting the Russian offensive. Would this force Ukraine to surrender or reach a peace agreement with Russia? Recognition of Russian conquests. A more controversial approach would be the formal recognition of Russia's territorial gains, such as the annexation of Crimea and the areas it has seized in eastern Ukraine. For Trump, this could be a way to secure a quick peace, but it would be a very unpopular decision and highly criticized in the West. What would this mean for Ukraine and global security? But what if things go wrong? What if Trump fails to bring peace quickly? Let's look at the risks of further escalation of the conflict. Should Trump fail in his attempts to negotiate or cut off military support to Ukraine, Russia could interpret this as a victory and further escalate its operations. This could lead to an increase in violence and destruction in Ukraine, and NATO could be pressured to intervene to contain Russia's expansion. While this is an extreme scenario, there is always the risk that if Trump fails to control the situation, the U.S. could be forced to become directly involved in the conflict. Russia has already demonstrated a willingness to attack NATO countries, and with a president like Trump, who has a somewhat more isolationist view, the situation could become even more unpredictable. A direct war between the US and Russia is a frightening possibility, but one that, with the wrong decisions, could become a reality. The global impact. What would Trump's actions mean for the world? Well, the impact could be profound. If he were to achieve a quick peace, the global balance of power would shift dramatically. Russia would emerge stronger, with new territorial gains, and this would likely weaken the position of the US and NATO in the world. On the other hand, if the war continues, Trump would have to deal with the economic and political consequences of a prolonged war. The cost of continuing to support Ukraine could be unsustainable in the long run, and this could damage the US's image on the global stage. All of this brings us to a crucial question. What would be best for the US, Ukraine, and the world? Trump has a unique way of seeing the world, but his methods could either end the conflict or escalate it further. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think will happen when Trump takes office? Will he be able to bring peace, or could his policies further escalate the conflict? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more analysis on the future of Ukraine and Russia under Donald Trump.